Hey everyone, Jake Cool here. Have you ever wondered what would happen if the United States, stopped being so united? What if each of the 50 states suddenly became their own independent countries? Would we see a world of tiny empires, each with their own flags, currencies, and armies? Or would it be more of a mixed bag, with some states thriving while others, well, not so much? That's what we're going to explore today. We're taking a deep dive into the hypothetical world where every US state is its own country. We'll be looking at the economies of each state, their strengths, their weaknesses, and whether or not they could actually hack it on their own in the cutthroat world of geopolitics. Get ready to have your mind blown because things are about to get interesting. First up, we're heading to the Golden State, California. Now, if California were to go solo, it wouldn't just be another country. It would instantly become a global powerhouse. We're talking the world's fourth largest economy, right up there with economic giants like Germany. Think about it. Silicon Valley, the beating heart of the tech universe, calls California home. It's a breeding ground for innovation, a magnet for tech talent, and the birthplace of companies that shape our digital lives. Then there's Hollywood, the entertainment capital of the world, churning out movies, TV shows, and music that captivate billions. And let's not forget about California's agricultural prowess. The Central Valley, often called America's salad bowl, feeds a significant portion of the country. But hey, it's not all sunshine and roses, even in California. This hypothetical nation would inherit some serious challenges. We're talking a high cost of living, a constant struggle with water scarcity, and a yawning gap between the rich and the poor. If California wants to thrive as its own entity, it'll need to find ways to bridge that gap, tackle those environmental concerns head-on, and figure out a way to keep the California dream alive and well, not just for the privileged few, but for everyone. Next up, we're moseying on down to Texas, the Lone Star State, where everything is famously bigger. And when it comes to the economy, that's no exaggeration. Texas boasts a GDP that would make it the 10th largest economy in the world, fueled by a potent cocktail of oil, gas, agriculture, and a tech sector that's hotter than a bowl of chili on a summer day. This is a state that knows how to do business. Texas exports more than any other state in the union, and its business-friendly environment has companies lining up to set up shop. But even the mighty Texas isn't without its challenges. The state's infrastructure is feeling the strain of a booming population, and the education system has some catching up to do. And let's not forget about those Texan-sized weather events. Hurricanes and droughts are a constant threat, reminding everyone that even the toughest cowboy has to respect Mother Nature. So could Texas make it on its own? Absolutely, but it would be a wild ride, full of booms, busts, and the constant need to adapt and overcome. From the Wild West, we're heading to the urban jungle, New York City, the beating heart of New York State. Now, New York's economy is a force to be reckoned with. We're talking a $2.3 trillion GDP, powered by Wall Street's financial wizards, world-class healthcare, and a tourism industry that never sleeps. New York City, a global hub of finance, media, and culture, would undoubtedly be a major player on the world stage. But let's not sugarcoat things. New York would inherit some serious baggage. Think aging infrastructure that's struggling to keep up, a cost of living that makes even the most seasoned urbanite wince, and an inequality gap that's wider than the Hudson River. For New York to truly thrive as its own country, it would need to invest heavily in modernizing its infrastructure, make serious strides in tackling income inequality, and find a way to keep that New York state of mind alive and well, even as it navigates the choppy waters of international relations. Chapter 4. Florida, Paradise Found, but at what cost? Let's be honest, Florida is a place that feels like it's already halfway to being its own country. And in this hypothetical scenario, it would finally get its chance to shine, or maybe sink. With a $1.7 trillion GDP, Florida's economy is fueled by sunshine, good times, and a whole lot of tourism. But let's be real, folks, Florida's relationship with Mother Nature is complicated. Hurricanes are like that unwelcome houseguest who just keeps coming back, and rising sea levels are threatening to turn the Sunshine State into the submerged state. If Florida wants to make it as an independent nation, it'll need to get serious about climate change adaptation and disaster preparedness. Think seawalls, early warning systems, and maybe even some innovative solutions to relocate those beachfront condos. It's a tough challenge, but hey, if anyone can handle a little chaos, it's Florida. Chapter 5, Illinois. From heartland powerhouse to uncertain future? Next up, we're heading to the heartland, to the land of Lincoln, deep dish pizza, and a whole lot of economic potential. Illinois, with its $1.1 trillion economy, has a lot going for it. Chicago, the Windy City, is a major player in finance, logistics, and let's not forget about the state's agricultural muscle. But Illinois also faces some serious headwinds. Fiscal challenges, a shrinking population, and a sense that the state's best days are behind it, all cast a shadow over its future. If Illinois wants to compete on the world stage, it'll need to get its financial house in order, attract new industries, and convince young people that there's a future for them in the Prairie State. Chapter 6. Pennsylvania, the Keystone State's Balancing Act. Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, has always been a place of balance. It's where the industrial heartland meets the rolling hills of the East Coast, where history and progress collide. And with a $1 trillion GDP, Pennsylvania's economy reflects that sense of balance. Manufacturing, healthcare, and energy all play a role in keeping the state afloat. But Pennsylvania is also grappling with an aging population, a slow-growth economy, and the need to reinvent itself for the 21st century. As an independent nation, Pennsylvania would need to find ways to attract new talent, revitalize its industrial base, and embrace innovation while still honoring its deep-rooted traditions. Chapter 7. Ohio, from Rust Belt to Reinvention, we're heading to the Buckeye State, a place that's been through the ringer but always seems to come out swinging. Ohio, with its $933 billion economy, is a state in transition. Once a manufacturing powerhouse, Ohio is now searching for a new identity in a world that's rapidly changing. Deindustrialization and stagnant population growth are challenges that Ohio knows all too well. If it wants to compete as an independent nation, Ohio would need to double down on education, invest in renewable energy, and create a business environment that attracts entrepreneurs and innovators. Chapter 8. Georgia's Southern Charm meets Global Ambition. Georgia, with its charming cities, beautiful coastline, and a history as rich as a pecan pie, is a state on the rise. And with a GDP of $888 billion, it's got the economic muscle to back up its ambitions. Atlanta, a bustling hub of logistics, tech, and media, would undoubtedly be a major player on the world stage. But Georgia also faces challenges, from rural poverty to racial inequality. If it wants to thrive as its own country, Georgia would need to find ways to bridge those divides, invest in education and infrastructure, and create a more equitable society for all its citizens. Chapter 9. Washington Tech Titan faces growing pains. Washington State, home to towering forests, majestic mountains, and some of the biggest names in tech, is a place where innovation seems to be baked into the DNA. With an $860 billion economy, Washington is a global player, thanks in no small part to tech giants like Microsoft and Amazon. But even in this tech paradise, not all is rosy. The cost of living is sky high, housing shortages are a major headache, and income inequality is a growing concern. If Washington wants to thrive as its own nation, it'll need to find ways to make life more affordable, invest in affordable housing, and ensure that the benefits of its economic success are shared more broadly. Chapter 10. New Jersey, the Garden State's high-stakes gamble. New Jersey, the Garden State, is often overshadowed by its larger, louder neighbor to the south. But with an $852 billion GDP, New Jersey is a force to be reckoned with in its own right. Its economy is a mix of finance, pharmaceuticals, and of course its proximity to the Big Apple. But New Jersey also has its fair share of challenges. High taxes, a high cost of living, and an aging infrastructure all put a damper on growth. If it wants to make it as an independent nation, New Jersey would need to find ways to attract new businesses, make itself more tax competitive, and invest heavily in modernizing its infrastructure. Outro: 50 states, 50 countries, the future is up for grabs. So there you have it, folks, a glimpse into the wild, wacky, and utterly fascinating world where every U.S. state becomes its own country. From global powerhouses like California and Texas to small but mighty states like Vermont and Wyoming, each state would face its own unique set of opportunities and challenges. Some would thrive, some would struggle, and some might even band together to form new alliances. It's a thought experiment that raises more questions than it answers. Could a country founded on the ideal of unity survive being broken apart? Would we see greater cooperation or more conflict? And what about the cultural ties that bind us together? These are questions for the ages, my friends. But one thing's for sure, the future of America, whether united or divided, is anything but certain.